kept you waiting, huh?
Hey guys, it's been a while. Now, a few months ago, 3 months ago to be precise, I said this in one of my videos, but there should be a lot more content on the way in the coming weeks and months. Now, I repeated this in pretty much every single video I posted since then, which is a grand total of 5 videos in 4 months. And my last one was about a month ago, so that's actually really poor form from me, so I'm very, very sorry. I'm sure you are all heartbroken that it's been a month since you've seen one of my videos. But to make up for it, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Grand Maritime Union, a bit about their lore, but mainly my thoughts on an update I think Sea of Thieves needs to add, and I think an update which would really make the game so much cooler and so much better. But anyway, let's get right into it with a bit of lore on the Grand Maritime Union. These guys are kind of like the boogeyman of Sea of Thieves. They're kind of like the East India Trading Company, and they are extremely anti-piracy. So a lot of the reason apparently in the lore that people have fled to the Sea of Thieves is because of how active the Grand Maritime Union are in the area around it, because they are so anti-piracy and so focused on hunting down pirates. Now, we've never actually seen them in-game, and in one of the Sea of Thieves comics, it was actually revealed that the Grand Maritime Union's fleet is way too big to sail into the Sea of Thieves. Now, that's actually, I think, one of the reasons that we've never seen mana wars in the Sea of Thieves in kind of from a lore perspective, because they are just too big to fit through the Devil's Shroud. Although, apparently, almost all of the workers at the Pirate Emporium are actually members of the Grand Maritime Union, and it was also rumoured that the Sovereigns have worked or do work with or for the Grand Maritime Union. And actually, if you look at the clipboards that they carry, you can actually see a Grand Maritime Union badge, which is, I think, pretty interesting. But what this kind of means is, first of all, we've been selling a lot of our treasure to them, so potentially they could be taking it out of the Sea of Thieves. And also the Pirate Emporium, it means that they have a absolutely massive and extensive collection of items that they've been selling to us for a long, long time. And it also implies that these guys have been gathering potential intel on all the pirates in the Sea of Thieves. So what does this mean for a future update, and where does this fit in? Now, I have a few ideas of what they should do and what they definitely should be adding the Grand Maritime Union into Sea of Thieves some point in the future. So first of all, I think it'd be really cool if they sent a few kind of vessels from their main fleet into the Sea of Thieves in kind of the first wave of this update or event, where you have to basically disrupt trading lines between these new fleets. So they pull up to the Sea of Thieves. You see a few of their ships coming in potentially. I don't know how they'd show that. They'd probably just say, oh, they've managed to break through the shroud. They're in galleons, for example, and they're trying to sell to outposts. And so you have to disrupt their shipping lanes. You take a voyage where maybe it's from the Reapers, maybe it's from the Pirate Legend, because he's, saying, well, these are anti-piracy, we have to stop them. Maybe there's even a somehow flimsy alliance between the two factions. That could be really cool to see. But you basically have to go out and hunt these vessels down like an actual pirate would do back in the day, and hunt down these merchant vessels and then take their cargo. I think that would be a super cool first idea. I think a potential second wave, which you could see, is they set up not outposts, but kind of mini outposts and mini trading hubs on certain islands, similar to the way the Reapers did with their kind of skeleton camps. And what you have to do is you have to be a buccaneer effectively and launch amphibious raids. So potentially you have to pull up in a rowboat, potentially you have maybe pull up in your main ship, but you have to launch an attack on this island. You have to fight a few waves of these pirates. It'd be really cool if we get actual pirate models rather than just skeletons and ghosts. And then you have to maybe, loot a stash or a vault or their main stash of items. And effectively this update will be focused on just disrupting their kind of operations in the area and stopping their anti-piracy, this, that, and the other. Maybe you could have bounties. Maybe the pirate lord could put bounties on these guys and make it so pirates have to go hunt these down. You have to hunt down maybe a large ship, one single galleon, really powerful galleon. I think that could be really, really cool to see. If, we have a bounty system. Maybe I know I'm being very, very, very ambitious here for what would be in one update, but still, I think it would be cool. And then finally, the main wave would be somehow they managed to get through with one major man of war and then a fleet of a few galleons. It's led by one of the commanders of the Grand Maritime Union. Obviously not a big guy, but, one of the commanders of it. And I think it would be really, really cool to see if we then get to have a big showdown with these actual proper ships, rather than just ghost ships or skeleton ships. These are fully intact galleons, maybe a man of war similar to Jack Sparrow's in Pirates of the Caribbean, and we get to have a full engagement with these guys in a proper battle. I think that would be super cool. I think it could be so cool to see these guys in the game, and I think it would also be so nice to finally have enemies to fight, like PvE enemies who aren't skeletons or ghosts, who actually are pirates. well, not pirates, merchants. And I think it would finally make it so you can actually do pirate and buccaneering activities in Sea of Thieves. Because the game's been out for, 8 years now, and there's still not been really anything you can do which is too piratey. You can dig up treasure and you can fight skeletons, but the whole essence of piracy was attacking and taking down merchant vessels, taking down ships from the kings of England and the kings of Portugal and this and the other. And so it'd be so cool if we can see that in Sea of Thieves now. I mean, they could also expand it, so these guys have committed attacks on maybe some of the ghost forts, maybe they've committed attacks on the Reaper outpost or even outposts in general, and it's kind of like a preamble to a proper all-out war. So I think that'd be really cool, and the kind of third wave is you see them, they're trying to bait you out into a big confrontation, they're taking down all these things, and maybe you have to even defend outposts. I think that'd be really cool if there could be random events where it says like, an outpost is about to get attacked and you've got to defend this outpost. For example, I think honestly, there's so much they could do with such a massive entity added to Sea of Thieves in the Grand Maritime Union. There is genuinely so much they could do with this, and I think it would be so cool to see, because it would really be a proper, meaningful update, not just for new content and new ways to play, because it would be super fun, but also from a lore perspective, it would be really, really cool. Obviously, the only issue is I don't know how this would kind of stick in terms of in the years to come, because obviously it would work amazing as like a 2-month event, for example, but how do you keep kind of adding this content and keeping this content in? One thing they could do is they could keep a couple of Grand Maritime Union outposts in the game, and they could keep the kind of trading ships that keep coming through, and you have to keep disrupting them as kind of a main thing. But then maybe the kind of main battle would be like the attacks we did with Flameheart, a few years ago, where you had to attack his main fleet. It would kind of be like that, where that ending part is an exclusive, maybe 1 month or 2 month thing that they have to have in the game, and then they remove it, and then that's that done, right? The main threat's been stopped, and then you've just got to be taking out these kind of smaller trade routes and this, that, and the other. But I think there's a lot of ways they could do it. That's just my kind of opinion on how they could do it. But it's something I'd love to see. I think I've always been fascinated by the Grand Maritime Union, because it'd be really cool to have kind of an East India Trading Company type entity in Sea of Thieves. And I think it would really not only help the lore, but it would tie into the real world, and it would actually make Sea of Thieves about genuine piracy and not just kind of semi-pirating activities or like mystical pirating activities. It would be actual genuine pirating and buccaneering. So that's my opinion, that's my thoughts, and that's what I would love to see added to Sea of Thieves. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm not going to make another promise that I'm going to post very, very soon, because I might not, who knows. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little lore video and this update idea, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.